Hello, it's Chemo 6, day 15, and as far as recording today, I have been lazy. It is, let me see, it is 4:59 in the evening. Normally, this is about the time I start editing the video to get it uploaded by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, something like that. Been debating all day. What am I going to do? What kind of video am I going to do today? Had no idea. So, in sitting around and messing around with things, I got to thinking about that old mini bike I've got. Now, some of you know the backstory on that mini bike, some of you don't. There is a picture of it on, I believe, on the on my homepage of the YouTube channel. You can see part of it, not all of it. It didn't upload the way I wanted to, and I never have tried to redo it. But this mini bike was purchased for me for my 10th birthday in 1969. Yep, now you can count and figure out how old I am. Okay, I don't care. That mini bike has gone through a real hard life. I lived in a very, very rural area. I had several neighbors, but it was a very rural area. Just about everybody seemed like family in the neighborhood that we lived in. And we would ride the mini bike to start with in our driveway, which is a large driveway area. It was probably 50 feet wide by 60 feet long, all real small gravel, so you could ride a mini bike and not have any problem out of it. Well, there were two railroad crossings. There was the main railroad crossing, which would consist, I think, of a total of 8 sets of tracks. But there was a small railroad crossing that was just maybe a quarter mile from the house. Well, I kept on telling them I wanted to ride my mini bike to the crossing. No, Johnny, you can't do that. You'll get caught. You'll get run over. Them people flying out through there. And I was talking about the one that was way on down the road. It was approximately 1.25 miles. They were always talking about the one that was maybe 1/4 mile from the house. Well, finally, one day they decided, okay, yeah, we'll let him go to the crossing. So they told me I could. And I took off, and I run that mini bike just as hard as it would run all the way to that farthest crossing. And that's what we would do. And finally, one evening, my grandpa was coming home, and he caught me turning around at the crossing. I got in all kinds of trouble. He told me to get myself home on that thing and to park it and come and talk to him in his little shed. Well, now, Grandpa never whooped us. Never did. Grandpa, now Granny, she would whip us occasionally, but I would say in my lifetime, maybe I got 3 whippings from her, and they weren't much of whippings. Okay, they wouldn't whip their grandkids. They would spoil us, but they wouldn't whip us. But I got me a talking to. And now, when Grandpa Wolfe talked to you, you knew you'd been talked to. But I finally got to where they started letting me ride that mini bike back out on that road. And they finally did give me permission to go to the end of what we could. The name of the place was Back Bottom. They finally let me, gave me permission to ride all the way out. Well, on the way back, there was a fork in the road that went up to some old, I can't remember what they called the little buggies, but it was the small buggies that the men rode on. And it was work buggies, inspection buggies. It went up to that, but you could go across a couple of little sets of tracks and get to the other side and go on out, and the road came out at the other end where you could get right down to where we lived. Well, I was riding, I guess I rode that for 2 or 3 months, and I'd stop at those tracks and I'd pick that mini bike up and carry them across that little old track deal. And finally, somehow, some dirt got piled up on each side of those tracks. Now this was it's a little Indian chopper mini bike, okay? It's made to get out on smooth surfaces and just cruise. It's not a dirt bike of any sort. It's not for doing any type of Baja riding. It was a smooth road riding mini bike, okay? Well, somehow some dirt got piled up close to those tracks, and I decided it was going to be a good thing to jump. I wouldn't have to get off my mini bike no more and carry it across, because I was only like 11 years old then, and that mini bike was pretty heavy for an 11-year-old kid. Scrawny little old thing I was. Well, I broke that thing loose. I took off and I hit that ramp, and right across those tracks I went like it wasn't nothing. So I went down and I rode down on the other road where I didn't have to cross the tracks, and I rode back, and I came back and I hit that ramp again. And when I hit the ramp on the other side, that time the back end of the mini bike went that way, the front end of the mini bike went that way. It broke right in the middle, and I just went flopping. Now, I was over a quarter of a mile from the house, and it still had the cables hooked from the handlebars down to the motor, so I had to pack that thing and keep those together and carry that thing all the way to the house. Skin my knees up, my elbows, and a big old skin mark on my forehead where I hit the ground and I did some flopping. Back then when I didn't wear helmets, nobody did. Crazy of us. But I just thought, I don't know, I know it's not very interesting, but for lack of any other content today, I thought I would share with y'all the day I broke my mini bike in two. And I flat did. My grandpa had to take it over to the shop at the railroad yard and weld the front end back on to where I could ride it again. And he did. He took care of it. He fixed it good for me. When I rebuilt it recently, I saw the brazing marks. Well, he brazed it back together. I can see the brazing where he did that. Okay, hopefully y'all enjoyed this story time. Maybe I'll get some more in my mind, try to get you some more going of these. But hey, y'all have a good day. We'll see y'all in the video tomorrow. Have a wonderful night, and God bless.